Why, hello, learning nerds. Before we begin today's show, I want to thank our awesome sponsors, with first giving a shout out to Idle Courses Academy. Idle Academy is the first and only authorized vocational school for instructional design and online learning. It includes a comprehensive hands-on curriculum with certifications, credentials, expert coaches, mentors, a community of practice, paid experience opportunities, industry-preferred software access, live events, and ongoing updates. Your entire instructional design career is neatly packaged behind a single login for just $88 a month. Check out all the details at idlecourses.com/academy, and you can use my code Luke for $88 off the yearly membership. Okay, now let's start the show. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome on in to the nerdiest podcast you're going to hear today. My name is Luke, and I'm here to help you to learn more about instructional design and designing learning experiences. And you can find all of the resources that I have for you over at drlukehobson.com. Folks, today's episode is a bit of a spicy one, and I alluded to this yesterday on LinkedIn, and I'm calling this Why Universities Should Think of Students as Customers. And of course, there's more of a story behind that, and obviously, you're in for a treat to be able to hear more about that on today's episode. But where this was coming from, the inspiration from this, is that I have been talking with many of you who are currently going back to school for a graduate program, for a PhD, an EDD, an instructional design master's, learning design master's, something associated with what it is that we do. And I hear from you, from some of your experiences, and it's like, oh no, that is not okay. That's not how things should be going. And it really did kind of trigger me here as far as I was getting extremely upset from hearing story after story. And I was like, you know what? I got to put my thoughts down on paper and try to be able to find a solution to share some ideas about potentially what could help out institutions who maybe are facing this problem. Those who are going through and hearing from their students and are not sure how to fix things or how to be able to even gather this information or anything of the sort. And what I try to be able to think about from all of these things is what was a theme that I can kind of categorize all of these different ideas and lump them together. And I thought back to a time of when I worked previously at another university, and all of a sudden, everything clicked. I previously worked at one university in particular where they would host a massive mandatory meeting called a town hall. And if you haven't heard of this before, this was when every employee at the university would gather to hear about the latest insights from the senior members of the leadership teams representing each department. So think about hearing different forms of accomplishments with projects and goals and enrollment numbers, revenue numbers, things of that nature. Now, in one particular town hall, a senior level leader asked us to reshape how we thought of the student experience. We should think of students as customers, is what he said. And this was met with several eyebrows being raised, and in full transparency, mine included. Students are students, they're not customers. Like, what is he talking about? Why would we do this? And I didn't really understand this message until many years later, and has completely changed the way that I teach my students. So let's do a bit of a mental exercise together. What if we took the mantra, but the customer is always right, and instead replace customer with the word student? What would that look like? What would happen? Does it even matter in the first place? Well, let's imagine this for a second. Say you have a customer who purchased an order from Instacart. The customer is not fully satisfied with the purchase, so they reach out to an associate and express their dissatisfaction. The associate listens to their concerns and expresses an understanding of their frustration and offers a solution. Through Instacart's app, by the way, this entire process can be completed within seconds. Not minutes, seconds. A follow-up email goes out asking for immediate feedback and seeing if there was anything else that they could have done to have made the experience better. Now, what if a student is not satisfied with their learning process, their education, the quality of a course, or something similar? Do they get the same kind of immediate white glove treatment? What exactly happens? From experience, I'd say that most institutions do have policies in place for students to submit documentation and express their concerns, but these are usually for rather serious matters. But what about for smaller scaled items though? Let's say some students didn't receive feedback on any of their assignments for weeks from their instructor. They reached out multiple times and were met with either silence or an empty promise that the feedback will be turned in soon. A month goes by, they still don't have feedback. Well, what then? If you, as a customer, submitted a help ticket to Amazon and you didn't hear back from them for over a month, you would be furious and you would be spreading the word that they don't care about their customers. This was the message that my senior level leader was trying to get across many years ago. A higher education institution and a business, they're not the same, but providing the best kind of support and experience should be universal regardless of the model. The institutions that are currently thriving today seem to have this kind of incredible experience mentality. They have figured out how to create a customer experience that blends with the priority around education. So, if I had to give you 5 main benefits, 5 reasons for even trying to think of this way with students as customers, what would they look like? Well, here are my top 5 reasons I can think of and how, if any of this is speaking to you, how this can impact your institution. Number 1, focus on quality. The quality of the products and services should be the number 1 priority for any institution. Products and services in this case applies to every touch point where a student interacts with the university or a face of the university. Think of the quality of courses, teaching, advising, administrative support, IT, and more. This is absolutely crucial for those institutions in the online space, which this now feels like every institution since COVID-19. Students have a multitude of ways now to learn online, and they expect that the online courses they are enrolled in will be designed well with their needs in mind. The day and age of telling students to buy textbooks, write a discussion board post, and submit an essay and repeat that 12 times is outdated and ineffective. That's not a proper learning experience. Every element in the course should be there with purpose and intentionality, and that is what's going to make the quality better. My second reason is responsiveness to needs. This is where higher education gets a bad rep. Higher education, in general, is often seen as slow and unresponsive to the times. Think of my example from before where you contact Amazon and don't hear back within a month. This is a normal higher education experience, and simply put, it's not acceptable. Now, of course, I do not expect anyone to be able to respond back to lightning fast to every single email or inquiry they receive from their students, but there should be guidelines and expectations for a response time that works for everybody. For my courses, to give you an example, students can expect feedback on assignments within a week, and if they contact me for help, they'll hear back from me within 24 hours. Anything longer than that, and it's a slippery slope. By being responsive to students, the institution demonstrates that they care and are attentive to their needs. My third reason is enhanced accountability. Considering students as customers can heighten a sense of accountability within a university. It emphasizes the importance of delivering value for the tuition and fees paid, thus pushing for better academic outcomes and higher satisfaction levels. This also demonstrates a two-way relationship. This is something I've always found ironic with seeing instructors or institutions having strict no submitted late work types of policies, but then it takes them weeks to respond back to student questions. If we are asking to keep integrity and academic rigor to a high level, then we need to respond back accordingly. The fourth reason is market competitiveness. Let's take off our academic hats for a second and put on our marketing caps. Where higher education institutions and businesses are identical is with competing for attention in a saturated world. If you are a student and you're considering going back to school for an MBA, you can Google best MBA program or MBA reviews or something along those lines, and a flurry of universities will be fighting for your clicks through Google Ads. Students hold more power than ever to decide where they want to go to school, and the reputation of schools can only take things so far. So, how do they decide where to enroll? The answer is simply that they seek out stories of other students. When students have an outstanding experience, they share about it. They tell friends, family, coworkers. They write reviews online and will share testimonies on social media and tag their institution because they are proud to go there. They order school swag. They wear it everywhere. This needs to be the goal. Have students so thrilled with the experience that they are compelled to talk about it. Universities seem to be struggling with enrollments and with marketing today. And the simple solution is to create such a meaningful learning environment that it makes students want to share about it. We all want a sense of belonging and community, and when done right, an institution is the perfect place to create this presence. And the fifth and final reason is feedback loop for continuous improvements. At the end of a conversation between a customer and associate, there is a request for immediate feedback. How did we do? Did this solve the problem? Are you fully satisfied? Is there anything else we can do to help? Imagine for a moment if higher education took this stance. After a student submits a course evaluation, the instructor and the instructional designers gather together to review the feedback. They categorize the themes of the feedback and prioritize which changes need to be made and when. Depending upon the circumstances, students would hear back from team members thanking them for their suggestions and being transparent, if possible, about plans for the future. Usually, course evaluations are submitted into an abyss where feedback is collected, but never really taken advantage of, or there is pushback to apply the recommendations from the feedback. I'm sure I don't need to remind you of this, but just in case, if nothing is done with the feedback, then why are we collecting the feedback? There's no point in being able to do this. It certainly does not make sense to be able just to say that, yes, we did it, it's the right thing to do, and then, nothing is done with it. So I'd also advocate, too, on top of all of this, that there should be even more chances for collecting feedback, especially with new programs, and not trying to be able to just wait until the end of the course. That's not really the best idea. If I had to sum up all of these points from today, the most significant factor is to emphasize caring. A business cares about the customers. Without them, they can't survive. They rely wholeheartedly on their positive reviews from websites and from word of mouth. If these don't exist, the business will cease to exist. The greatest educators I can think of share this trait in that they cared. They were passionate. They were there for the students and to see them succeed. They could have all different styles of teaching, but at the end of the day, they served their students. It's this mentality that will keep students engaged in the learning environment. However, this is all to say that it's crucial to maintain a balance. Education is not a typical consumer good, and the primary goal of a university should be to educate and foster intellectual development, not just to satisfy customer demands. Students are coming to learn because they don't have all the answers. They are seeking those answers. They want to get better, and they're seeking the expertise from the institution. The focus should be on helping them to reach their goals. By thinking about students as customers, though, we can remove barriers and challenges that are normally faced from each interaction. All in all, the benefits are there, but changes need to be integrated thoughtfully into the broader educational mission and ethos of the university. So what'd you think? Was it a spicy take? We'll see. I will see from your reactions. Feel free, comments on LinkedIn, on the website. Feel free to tag me and share with me your thoughts. What do you think about this idea as far as for thinking about students as customers? Was there something else that I should have mentioned? Was there a point that really resonated with you that you wish perhaps your institution did when you were going back to school? Or heck, even if you are still in school right now, it still applies to you. So let me know. Would love to hear your thoughts. Reminder, if you want to see some of these steps in action, by the way, because I certainly don't just try to talk the talk, I will attempt to walk the talk as well. The new cohort, the fourth cohort for Instructional Design Institute, is kicking off again March 4th. So if you want to be able to learn about designing meaningful learning experiences and how to do this from every step of the way, well, then I would 100% encourage you to apply for the next cohort. And absolutely, I will be demonstrating some of these things to make sure that you are seeing my teaching style in action. Would love to be able to see you inside of a cohort. So go down below, find the link inside of the show notes, and be sure to apply today. Well, hey, folks. That's all I have for you today. Stay nerdy out there, and I'll talk to you next time.